All right, welcome everyone to our presentation on developing a powerful LinkedIn profile. My name is Cliff Guerin. I am an advisor here at WGU's Career and Professional Development Center, and I am glad to be here with you all today. So let's cover a couple of things. If you need to leave for whatever reason, if you're at work or you need to get up for a bio break or get something to drink, whatever the case may be, please take care of yourself and do what you need to do. As I said, this is being recorded, so when you get the recording, you can come back and catch up on anything you might have missed. If you have any questions after the presentation, you're welcome to contact us. Our email is there, careers@wgu.edu. And again, we will use the chat feature for any questions today. We're going to go over just an overview of LinkedIn and some numbers. We'll talk about some optimization strategies, and then we'll look at maybe some profile sections for some examples on what a good professional profile should look like. We'll talk about next steps and what you could do to keep up with your own LinkedIn account as you're using it for networking, job searching, connecting with recruiters, whatever the case may be. So LinkedIn has been around for quite a while. Why are we still using it? Well, we're using it because it helps to cultivate your personal brand and it helps to really enhance your digital footprint. So when you're applying to jobs or internships, it's not just with a resume, but also with your LinkedIn profile can be very helpful. You can build networks. So a lot of folks are asking, where are WGU alumni going when, for work? Well, they can connect with alumni through the alumni tool. We'll talk about that also on LinkedIn. And then, of course, for job searching, internships, things of that sort. We do know that there are always some issues, some glitches when doing a job search with LinkedIn. So we can address that a little bit as much as we can. Mostly it's going to be up to the recruiters to make the decision on how they want to handle applications. But you can also use LinkedIn to explore industries. You can do a background on companies, find out more about them, and then also explore career pathways as well. Now, when we talk about LinkedIn by the numbers, this is what we mean. There are still over 1 billion members nation or globally that are on LinkedIn, if not more. We have 67 million companies on LinkedIn. I bet there's more to that as well. Now, this is most current, and that's how many WGU alumni are on LinkedIn, and that's 418,000. Now, I just looked that number up this morning, and so we can trust that that number is growing. We've got 94% of recruiters say that they use LinkedIn and other social media platforms to really vet candidates, to find candidates. They may reach out to you as well. And there is hiring going on, maybe a little more daunting than using Handshake, but it is happening. And so employers are still using LinkedIn as part of their recruiting platforms. Now, we're here today with everyone. Why not take out your phone and go ahead, or not your phone, but why don't you share in the chat your own LinkedIn profile? You've got your connections right here today. So if you feel up to it, go ahead and do that. I'll give you all a moment to do that, to help out. I'll give you all a moment if you want to share your profiles, and we'll be right back. All right, everyone. Great. So when we're talking about optimizing your profile, here are some really good tips that you want to be aware of. First of all, there is what's called the LinkedIn Recruiter tool. This is a tool that recruiters actually use on their end when they're trying to post jobs, look for talent, look for people, things of that sort. So that can be really helpful for them to use in order to find you. That's why you want your profile to be completed. You want your profile to be as polished and really tied up as best as you can, because you want that recruit tool to really be able to find you, right? To be able to see that you are matching what they are looking for. That makes any sense. So the algorithms that behind that tool, the algorithms that are used, don't know if you can see this box. I'm going to get rid of this little box here. Uh, that's what's used to rank the content of your LinkedIn profile. And the most indexed at a higher level for the recruiters are your headline, your job title line, your experience, your work experience, and the sections of especially your skills. Having your skills prioritized on the most current, what you're trying to kind of advertise yourself, that's what's going to be seen, and that is indexed at a higher level with the alumni. I'm sorry, the recruiter tool that's there. Now, the sections that are really sought after by the recruiters that you want to pay more attention to will be those industry skills or transferable skills from your past, any certifications that you'll be getting from WGU or that you already have obtained, and also job title, target job titles that could be on there. Now, we'll talk about other sections and how they're seen through the LinkedIn Recruiter tool. But finding those keywords to help you out, those transferable keywords, just like on your resume, use the job descriptions. Look at others' profiles, other people's profiles. How are they talking about themselves? Use other platforms when you're searching. You can even use ChatGPT. So this is true. You can use AI to help you identify top keywords or industry skills according to whatever you're seeking, whatever you're studying as well from WGU. Now, just a little quick tip. If you're looking at how do you edit your LinkedIn profile, when you go to your profile and you have obviously your name, you've got a blurb about yourself that's right under your name and your picture. There's also going to be a section where you can add a profile section, and it will give you a list of what that is. And you'll see that with that little green pencil in the green frame here. Click on that, it'll open up a dialog box, and that's how you develop or add a section to your profile. Now, a word on your profile photo. This does hold some importance. We have seen through both LinkedIn's own research and others that when you have a good professional looking photo on your LinkedIn and also your handshake. I refer to handshake and LinkedIn almost simultaneously because they behave very similarly. They're used in a very similar way. And it's the same with your profile picture. 21 times more views can happen when you have a nice professional photo. 9 times more connection requests are made when your profile is completely filled out and polished. So review photos of professionals in your target industry. Do some searches that way and find out. You don't have to go buy something. You can do it with your phone, but make sure that you're using the photo in an appropriate way. What I mean by that is just have you in the photo. We don't need you and your dog or your baby, right? Or your family. I've seen some photos that are like family vacations. That's not the purpose of the profile photo for your LinkedIn page. Shoulders and above are all you want. Make sure you have a nice smile. You're not wearing glasses. You're not wearing a hat. Uh, things like that. Natural lighting. It can be outside, but you want to make sure that you're the main subject and not the mountains in the background, for example. Natural lighting, background, and make sure you're looking at the camera. I've had a couple of photos where people are looking away, they're looking to the side for some reason, an artistic flair perhaps, but it looks kind of odd. You don't want this to look like, you're stuck in the basement, right? So you do want to have that good smile, have something that looks more professional. It's not a hostage photo. Now, behind your photo is that banner. And that banner, if you don't do anything with it, it's just gray, right? Um, Kind of boring. It's just a gray, background. But if you use that to help kind of amplify your brand, that could really help stand out to recruiters as well. Keep it clear, professional, align it to the industry you're pursuing. If you're in the School of Technology, for example, you can have something that looks techy behind it. Maybe not too busy, but something that can get attention. You can create that banner in any way. You can do it on Canva if you have those artistic skills. You could do it with Photoshop. You can even just do a search. Just do a Google search, but make sure that in your search, you're putting that you're looking for a banner that will fit LinkedIn measurements. And then put in what kind of banner are you looking for? Looking for technology themed banner that fits LinkedIn measurements. Just like a prompt, if you're using ChatGPT, it's going to work the same with Google and a lot of other search platforms as well. You can see an example here of one example. So Olivia Wilson is a social media marketing professional. She has probably her website page that's there, the URL. She has her email that's there to contact her. It gets some attention. It's not too busy. It's easy to find her contact information. So that's a good example of what a banner can look like. Now, the other is your profile URL. That's your web address, that you have that you can use. You want to make sure this is cleaned up. So if you don't do anything at all, you've got those numbers and letters at the end of it, right? But if you customize that URL, it's a lot cleaner, it's professional, it's easier to use on your resume or cover letter. It's actually easier to find. So if those recruiters are looking and that comes up, you come up in their search, their batch of searches they're finding, it's a lot easier to use a cleaner looking URL than one with a bunch of numbers and letters at the end. So let me go back to this and look at the example here that we have with the red arrow. So if you need to change this, all you need to do on your profile is just go to that public profile and URL, click on the pencil, and then you should be able to customize that as well for you. Now, the headline is what's under the name and the picture. Now, again, this holds some weight. So don't just have a job title. Don't just have a couple of words. Really make it a lot more robust, is what I want to say. This is the number one section that's prioritized by the LinkedIn Recruiter algorithm. The other one I talked about was one that had a higher ranking. This has a higher prioritization that recruiters can be using. So you really want to be able to make this a little bit more beefier, if you will, with that. So it's immediately visible. Your eye is going to be drawn to the picture and the banner, and then underneath is a way for you to really be able to give a snapshot of who you are, kind of what you do, what you offer, kind of a value statement. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. So it should be keyword rich. And to do that, ask yourself, what is your career target? What are the top skills that you bring to the industry, even those that you're studying from WGU? And then what problems do you solve? Now, if you look here under McCall's picture and you look at her headline, she has sort of in that order. She's a 4-time certified career development specialist. She's a career coach, certified resume writer. What does she do? Well, she fosters an economic mobility and professional success through relationship building and high quality career advising. So in a checklist to keep everything organized, you can have just your target job title, industry skills, certifications, and again, a value statement or a value proposition. We'll talk about how you can create this, and here are some examples. So we've got three let's say frameworks that you can use to put it all together. Target job title, keyword skill, keyword skill, keyword skill, and then a value statement. Or a job title, maybe a couple of certifications you already have, then some keyword skills that are at the higher level of the jobs or career that you're pursuing. Then another could be a job function, and then your industry skills, and then your value statement. Here are 4 examples of what I have been talking about. So if you're looking at the one to the far left, medical record specialist, she's a HIPAA compliance professional. She has electronic records skills, safeguarding patient documentation to promote accurate and confidential healthcare data management. That's her value propositions. That's what she does. And the others are similar. Somebody in HR, somebody who is getting their degree perhaps in instructional design, creating engaging content. She has a background in e-learning, curriculum. And then the last one is somebody who may be a career changer, aspiring cybersecurity analyst, network security, threat detection, incident response. What does she want to do with that? She wants to protect digital frontiers and be proactive with defense strategies. Now, if this changes, that's okay. Just go back in, change it around a little bit if you have different keywords you want to include. But for the most part, this is a good way to formulate your headline example. Now, the different sections on your profile we have seen is the number one section that's viewed by recruiters, because they're going to look and see, what are you trying to say about yourself? So the largest character limit of any section, that about section, is like your 30-second commercial, right? That's your summary. So that's what we've been talking about. That's going to give you an idea of, tell me about yourself. It's the largest character limit that you can have, up to 2,600 characters, maybe a little too much. You don't want it to be too wordy, but you do want it to be clear and kind of speak about your brand. Focus on your skills, experiences, again, the value that you bring, and it needs to really be future oriented and not talk just about your past, but talk about what you can do for the company. You can personalize it. Unlike your resume summary profile or summary qualifications, you don't use first person pronouns, I, me, my, but on LinkedIn, you can. You can personalize it. Talk about your leadership style. Talk about any unique skills or strengths that you bring. But always integrate those keywords and industry skills because, again, those algorithms and those almost like an applicant tracking system, that's going to be picked up. And that's how recruiters will know you may fit what they're looking for. Now, here is a really good way to write your about section. Here are some good writing tips. Again, it's your story. It's a different writing style than on your resume, so you can write in first person. Start with a hook to capture attention. Don't get too corny with it, but you can start with something. It could be a quote, perhaps. It could be something that is unique to what you bring to the company. It doesn't have to be very long, just a few paragraphs. Maybe, let's say 3 paragraphs could be a good start. So that opening paragraph, you want to answer these questions. What do you do, or what do you want to do? What draws you to the field? And what motivates you? That second paragraph can be, what's your career background? What are your transferable skills, and what do you bring as far as your knowledge for the next job that you're pursuing? And how do you want to achieve results? That can be quantified or it can be qualified. It doesn't have to be numbers, but it can also be, how do you want to see a change in a particular industry? And then your final paragraph can be, what are your career goals? What kind of opportunities are you looking for? And then a call to action. If this fits, let's connect today. I mean, what do you want them to do? You want them to make a connection with you and then include you in their professional network. Now, sometimes if you don't want to have it just as 3 paragraphs, you can use headers. Use capitalized, bolded headings. And then under those headings, you can have maybe 3 or 4 bullet points that highlight that particular heading. So the opening paragraph, you can say what I do, and then give me some examples of what you want to advertise as far as what you can do. Why a career in software development or accounting or whatever you're pursuing? My top values include, and then have maybe your top 3 or 4 values. What captivates me? What drives me? You don't have to list all of these. These are just some examples, but it's another way to break up the content and to give a much more interesting visual appeal. The middle paragraph could be about now your career highlights, what problems you solve, maybe your top strengths, how you influence outcomes, maybe the technologies you learn. And then the closing paragraph is that call to action and that value statement. What are your goals? Where do you want to go? The call to action to connect with me. Opportunities we can bring to success together, something like that. Now, the experience section is your work experience, very similar to your resume. Use it in the same way. You still want to go back 10 to 15 years, even if it's not relevant to what you're pursuing. Recruiters, just like on your resume, they still want to see what kind of work history do you have? Because there are those transferable skills. If you worked with teams, if you worked, in communication, communications as far as professional communications with your boss, anything that can be considered transferable skills, the recruiters want to be able to see that work history. And sometimes it's just, do you have work history? Do you know what it's like to work on a job and be responsible every day for, a product or for a service? So again, for less relevant experience, just highlight those transferable skills. You don't have to include everything, but you don't want to give it some reflection time. Give yourself some time to reflect on what those could be. And then you can consider adding volunteer work, internships, micro internships, clinical experiences. That's still experience that could be used. Now, here's another really interesting way to do this and make it more dynamic. So your job title is there. You know, it's indexed by the recruiter. Those algorithms are using that because that's what's being picked up by those searches and by those algorithms. But then you can also add to your job title and what we call a compound job title. This can represent various roles that you've done, and I've had students say, here's my job title, but I do more than that. We'll use that more than that, those roles, in a way that gives you a little bit more credibility in your position. So if somebody was a marketing associate, but they were also working with social media, they can include that and say marketing associate, have a divider like a bullet point or a vertical line, and then social media strategist. Instructional designer, content developer. Software engineer, full stack developer, or Python specialist, or C#. And you can have more than one. You can put keywords like we have at the bottom: health informatics specialist, clinical information systems, data entry. Human resources coordinator, recruiting, onboarding, payroll. These are being picked up, right? Like an applicant tracking system. Cybersecurity analyst, network security, threat management. Yeah, 3 or 4 keywords could be really helpful to have that there. Now, these are other ideas. It's optional, but you can have some other ideas in your experience section. You can include 4 to 7 accomplishment statements. The results, outcomes can have a role there. Just like your resume, you want to use strong action verbs, numbers if you can, but focus on a greater purpose behind your tasks. How did you do your work? What benefit did it bring to the business? What soft skills do you believe that could be leveraged and add to your accomplishments? And I'm hearing this more and more, especially within the tech industries. They do want to know what soft skills you have because it's not just going to be about programming or cybersecurity or data analytics. You're still going to work with people, so you need to relate to others. You need to work with teams, work on projects, things of that sort. So in one way of summarizing this, don't just tell me what you did, tell me how you did it and what happened. So your education section is going to be just the same or very similar to your resume. And just the same, you want to have your bachelor's degree, your a master's if you're studying your master's, maybe not an associate's if that's not going to be it's not going to be a factor that recruiters will use for qualifications. If they are looking for at least a bachelor's degree, then the associate's degree is really not going to be used to consider you for consideration of a particular job. And definitely high school does not go on any of your documents, especially your resume or LinkedIn. Always want to add your graduation year. You can include a capstone project. You can include coursework. I'd say your highest level of coursework. Don't give basic courses that you've taken. The higher level of the courses are going to have more of a splash, if you will, than the others. So your skills section that I spoke about earlier, the importance of your skills section is, again, as I said earlier, that this is the highest that is indexed by that LinkedIn recruiter algorithm. So you want to make sure that they are keyword rich according to your industry. It's 17 times more profile views are the results when you have at least 5 skills. And you want those 5 skills to be prioritized with the most important as number 1, number 2, number 3, because when you look at your profile, those are the only ones you're going to see, just a few. I have to open up your skills section to see all of them. So if you want those to be seen right up front without opening up that section, have your most prioritized skills at the top. You can add up to 100, which will increase your discoverability, but you want to make sure that they are relevant to your industry. Now, you can also abbreviate them, but I would abbreviate them and I would spell them out at the same time. Just because if those algorithms and that, like the applicant tracking system, is only trained to look at completely spelled out, then you want to make sure that it's being seen and being captured by those systems. So again, that LinkedIn skills, there used to be a skills assessment that LinkedIn had. I don't believe it's any longer available, but you can still make sure that you're using those specific jobs, projects, and education directly on your profile. Now, just again, just some nuts and bolts on how to work with your skills section. Again, prioritizing the top 5. You can click that pencil. That'll open up where you can add the skills. And then if you want a, way to look at those again, you'll see that at the bottom it says show all 55 skills. So this example has 55, but I can only see maybe the top 2 or 3. Now, some other, I would add licenses, make sure they're relevant. Your certifications, if you're getting your certifications from WGU, you can add those with maybe a future date if you haven't gotten them just yet. This can really showcase your, not only your knowledge and achievements, but also kind of how you're being proactive and adding something that could be valuable to the industry. Again, keep it relevant. If you've got a certification, but it was for a different industry or a different type of job, and it's not going to work with your job, then I wouldn't include it. It's probably not going to, the recruiters are not going to be able to interpret how this might play into the next job. So I would not take the risk of adding something that might make you look overqualified or not even qualified if it doesn't match what they're searching for. Now, recommendations, if you have colleagues that could write a recommendation for you, even from a different job, but they're writing the recommendation about your work ethic, for example. So think about, why would you need one? Why would it be on your profile? Well, it could bolster your professional credibility. It stands out from competitors, highlights your achievements, and reinforces your brand. Who do you want to approach for this? Well, managers, supervisors. If you had internships, maybe who was that supervisor of an internship, other colleagues, program faculty, if they're allowed to write a recommendation. Sometimes our mentors cannot do that. So just make sure you're asking if that's permissible, if you're pursuing that. And then how do you do that? You can include a message with a request, provide context to why you're asking the request, give specific guidelines, maybe not too lengthy, 3 or 4 lines. You want quality over quantity. So if you only get 2 recommendations, that's okay, as long as they're good, strong recommendations. And then you want to be grateful and reciprocate, let them know if there's anything I can do. I really appreciate your assistance with this. Please contact me. I'd be glad to help. Now, there are always additional sections you can add. Again, this is voluntary. That can include languages, but make it relevant. If you speak Italian or Vietnamese or Mandarin, but you know the company is not going to use that language, you can include it just to show again a well-roundedness, but it's optional. Projects, courses you've taken, maybe organizations you belong to. This could be really important, especially if they're professional organizations like SHRM, if you're in HR, if you belong to an accounting professional association, that could be really important. Now, a note about settings, if you want to go into your privacy settings and assign who can see your profile, that is always an option that you can do. Just go into your settings up by where your picture would up to the top right. I think your picture would be there or your initials. You can open that up, look at your different settings and privacy settings, then you can change all of these that you see here on the right. Now, a word about this open to work. It's kind of, I won't say controversial, but there are two sides of the same coin. One side says, from recruiters I've heard from, said they really don't like that hashtag open to work. It looks kind of desperate, and this is an opinion of a couple of recruiters. But other recruiters say they don't mind it because it does kind of advertise that you're available. You are open to work. I can be contacted. If you want to change that, just click that open to button, and then you'll be able to choose if you only want recruiters to see this or if you want your entire LinkedIn membership to also see it. Are you immediately available or are you flexible? You're kind of casually looking around. So there's a lot more information that can be obtained from some of those settings. Now, the next steps, identify your target industry. We do have a LinkedIn user guide. I'll show you where to find that on our website in just a moment. That can walk you through how to do a review. If you would like us to do a LinkedIn review, we can do that for you. Just let us know. Send us a request and your URL, and we can do a LinkedIn review for you. We have other workshops on networking, personal branding, job searching. I did one yesterday on how to use AI during job search. We have some of those coming up also in the near future. That's on the events page on Handshake and also on our homepage. So we would definitely be glad to help you out with that. So think about what your next step will be. Maybe you can divide your week and say, Monday, I'm going to look for new people, alumni to network with. Tuesday, I'm going to look for new industry skills and update my skills section. Wednesday, I'm going to do a job search and reach out to recruiters. So you can kind of divide your week up with small tasks that you do throughout that time. Now, a word on JobScan. You all have a premium level membership on JobScan. And in addition to the resume optimization, you can also do a LinkedIn profile optimization. So JobScan will actually scan your LinkedIn profile, and it will help almost 132% more LinkedIn profiles can be viewed. Now, let me do this since we have a few more minutes. Let me open up a to show you an example. So one moment here. Let me pull this over. So I told you I was going to show you. If you go to build your brand, you can go down to LinkedIn, click on LinkedIn, and that will open up all of our LinkedIn resources that you can use. Expanding your network. Here's the LinkedIn user guide. Just click on that and that will download it for you. Staying connected, optimizing your profile. And here's JobScan. Let's open that up. You can go down to quick demo videos. You can see all kinds of videos. Let's go ahead and look at the LinkedIn optimization.
And click Continue. Next, paste a job description you want to. Welcome to JobScan. Let's take a look at the LinkedIn optimization tool with JobScan's suite of premium job search tools. With this tool, you'll get all the advice and guidance you need to boost your LinkedIn profile to get found by recruiters and show hiring managers that you're the best fit for the job. And it only takes 2 simple steps to get started. First, navigate to the LinkedIn tab from the top menu of your JobScan dashboard and select LinkedIn Optimizer. Add your LinkedIn profile URL and click Continue. Next, paste a job description you want to apply for here and click Add. You must add or select a minimum of 3 job descriptions so that your LinkedIn profile is optimized for the different jobs you'll apply for. Your resume should be tailored to each individual job, but you only have 1 LinkedIn profile, so it needs to be more broad. You can also select from previous jobs you've added by clicking the plus icon next to it. Click on the 3-dot menu icon to view the job description or remove it from your selection. When you're done, click Scan. JobScan's system will analyze your profile and compare it to the job descriptions you entered. Using a proprietary algorithm, you'll get a match rate and a detailed report showing how well your profile is optimized and what you should do to improve it. Here's an overview of what this report includes. First, you'll see the match rate of your profile. This tells you how well you match the kinds of jobs you're applying for. Next, the report will show if you've included key information like your full name, profile picture, background picture, location and industry, and whether the Open to Work status is enabled or not. Note that the Open to Work status may be shown as not enabled if you set it as visible only to recruiters from your LinkedIn profile settings. If you don't know what a section or item means, you can click the question mark next to it to see more details on the checks and why those items are important. Next on the report are high-impact items like your headline and summary. The system checks your headline to see if it follows best practices for length and formatting and is tailored for the roles you are applying for. You can see your current headline here and advice on how to improve it. You can even get a new headline that's tailored to your work experience and skills. Just click here. This feature uses a custom AI prompt to generate a new headline that follows best practices and is personalized to your skills and work experience. Next, you'll see your profile summary report. The system checks that your summary follows best practices for length, formatting, and tone, and that it mentions relevant skills and measurable results. You can click the Tip button to get tips for each section. These will give you more insights for how to improve your profile. There's also an option here to get a new summary using AI. This generated summary will follow best practices and is personalized to your experience, skills, and achievements. If you don't like the generated summary, you can click the button again to generate a new one. The next part of the report is the Work Experience section. You'll see checks that will ensure you have a complete profile with important details that will help you stand out. For each job listed, you'll see a check or an X for the categories, date, job title, company name, and responsibilities. If you see an X, that means you need to add that info on the details for that role on your profile. The next section is the most important, Key Skills. Here you'll see the common skills mentioned in the job description you added. These skills need to be on your profile. Recruiters have access to LinkedIn tools that allow them to find and filter LinkedIn profiles by skills and job titles. Make sure that your profile lists these skills. Next is the Education section. The system checks your profile to verify whether or not you have the education or degree that the job descriptions you entered require, if they do. It will even tell you which degree is required from the job descriptions. Lastly, you'll see extra tips and tricks that can give your profile a boost, like having a vanity URL and a recommended number of connections. Everything you need to do is lined out for you in this report. All you have to do is update your LinkedIn profile based on the advice and instructions. After you've updated your profile, click the New LinkedIn Scan button. Run the scan with your same profile URL and make sure you select the same jobs you selected before. The match rate now will update based on the edits you made. That's it. Now your LinkedIn profile will be working for you even when you're not applying for jobs. Boost your LinkedIn profile with AI-powered insights and job matching precision. Start today at jobscan.co.